History for Granite, our favorite pyramid YouTuber, just posted. He has a new discovery that hasn't been talked about too much. So, reminder to all, if you're into pyramids, this is the guy to go to. But let's hear what he has to say. Are you ready, everybody? Say it with me.
Welcome to History for Granite. Join me to explore ancient Egypt.
Oh boy, here we are
Please
again.
subscribe, and together we'll uncover secrets from the past written in stone. The last 10 years have been an exciting time for the pyramids, with an unprecedented amount of science applied towards scanning them to discover new secrets.
Huge.
My own research journey was inspired by the Scan Pyramids mission, which proved how much more there was to learn about these fantastic monuments. Their enormous size and mysterious designs lead our imaginations towards hidden chambers filled with treasures or secrets about the ancient past. A pile of rocks this big just seems like a great place to hide something, and I don't blame anyone for hoping that undiscovered rooms still lay inside.
You know, it's like the paradox of the pyramids, and what they always talk about is this is like the most obvious place to search. If you're on a Minecraft server and people don't have x-ray cheats, the best place to hide a chest is not inside this like massive build. Because yeah, you assume there's gonna be, it's just like some random grass patch and you just bury a treasure, you know? Typically you don't want to announce where the treasure's at, but then again, if it's impenetrable, if it's ungriefable, maybe you do hide it.
On that note, I'm sure many of you will be thrilled to learn that a new paper published about scans on the eastern face of Menkare's pyramid opens up this very possibility.
So before we get into it, Menkare's pyramid has typically been, out of these three, the least interesting on the Giza Plateau. The one people really care about is the Great Pyramid. That is the big one, all right? Menkare, you know, he's just a little smaller. I'm pulling up a very low resolution image here, but the biggest one is actually the one behind. The middle one here it appears taller, but it's smaller because it's built on higher ground. And Menkare's one is kind of like just, in comparison, it's not as big, but it has granite and stuff. So all these stones here, the casing stones, are made of granite. That's the special trait.
Anomaly has been found where any casual observer would hope to find one. It is centered on the eastern face in the middle of a squared portion of casing stones that were dressed fully smooth. This smooth section mirrors the north face of the pyramid, where the entrance is found on the fifth course.
Ooh. Okay. You know, that is interesting. Yeah, the casing stones on Menkare's pyramid, they were never really like finely chiseled to be very smooth, as you can see, except here, apparently, at the entrance. I didn't know this. And on the back side, there's an area where it's chiseled too, and these are unsmooth next to it.
Casing stones. Given the similarity between these sections of smoothed casing stones, it's amazing nobody in the past removed the blocks on the eastern side, hoping to find a similar entrance. Once fallen casing stones pile up, it takes an enormous effort to remove them.
Wow. Look at this image. How many men do we have here? This guy is Giga Chad. He's solo carrying a big rock, it looks like. But here you have 4 guys doing levers to actually like get under the stone, and then a team of like 15 on the stone on the other side. And this is not even a big one. Like, look at this boulder. And now imagine getting them up there in the first place. Oh, these guys were Giga Chads.
We recognize that authors of this paper have a strong track record of accurate results, including scientists like Hani Halal.
Oh, okay. No, this is really credible. So there was this paper, right, a couple of weeks ago that made the news, like Pillars Under Pyramids News. Look, experts clash over hidden city beneath Egypt pyramids. Shocking secrets scientists reveal. This was all just a bunch of BS, basically, where they claimed to have found these massive structures, but they were uncredible scientists that inferred a lot from the data that isn't there. Like, if you look at this, you shouldn't really result with it. Anyway, these guys are a lot more credible because they actually found the big void. They found the north face corridor. Their scanning techniques have proven to find chambers, okay? So we can sort of go in with like, at least they haven't missed before. No big else on the record, okay?
This proven success stands in contrast to recent publications on synthetic aperture radar scans of the Giza pyramids, which use methods that have never been demonstrated to accurately scan surface voids before. It's no wonder the public has been confused about which scientific studies can be trusted when prominent Egyptologists have a poor track record of endorsing or refuting remote scans.
I'm working in archaeology for 45 years. Technology never showed to me anything convincing at all.
A decade ago, Zahi Hawass...
It just couldn't be a History for Granite video without a clip of Zahi Hawass with a massive L take.
It should also be noted that the introductory section of this new scanning paper, which covers the Egyptology background, contains sloppy errors. I presume this section is written by Zahi Hawass, as he's the only Egyptologist author for the paper, and his writing style has become all too familiar.
I mean, bro, you can't just... You can, and maybe it's warranted. It's just... People outside of Egyptology have no idea why this guy gets so much shit. Zahi Hawass, for example, was minister of the antiquities in Egypt when they filled concrete in a part of the pyramid called the Big Step. So this part, you go up the Grand Gallery, you reach the Great Step. It's in the perfect center of the pyramid. And it had this grove here, which looks like it's coming from really heavy wear, right? Like, you could imagine maybe this was a rope or something to help counterweight stones. Like, it's been completely blasted with wear. What the ministry did is they filled in concrete here to make it square so that it matched their staircase, so that tourists could more easily walk up to the upper chamber. So, and, you know, this might have held some clues into actually how the pyramids were built. But we don't know anymore. So yeah, that's why he's getting flack here. Does he understand? Like not a very well liked guy in the research world is.
The three non-destructive scanning techniques identified 2 air gaps directly behind the granite casing stones. Anomaly A1 is 1 by 1.5 meters square, slightly above the trapezoidal block in the middle of the smooth section. Anomaly A2 is 0.7 by 0.9 meters in size, tiny. Just to the left.
That is almost like you can't fit a person in that realistically. That doesn't seem like an entrance.
The larger anomaly A1 begins 1.4 meters deep, whereas anomaly A2 is shallower at 1.13 meters deep. Both anomalies are interpreted as air gaps from the combined scan data. The scan data could not determine the depth to which the air gaps penetrate into the pyramid. The paper states 3.5 meters was the maximum depth to which data could be obtained, but this does not mean the air gaps extend that.
That is interesting. That's interesting. So at least 3.5 meters? That is a proper tunnel.
Thus, the space could be anything from small isolated pockets of pyramid that were never filled in, to a hidden passage leading into the heart of the pyramid.
Like this tunnel typically is 1 meter by 1 meter. It's 2 cubits wide, 2 cubits tall. It's typical like pyramid entrance. So the other one was wider. Bit strange, but it was wider.
Entrances to these pyramids were not disguised. They always have enormous lintels above passages, including the northern entrance at Menkare's pyramid, which leads to the most impressive vault and sarcophagus of its time.
This is the one that the Brits stole and it got lost in a shipwreck, by the way. This one is at the bottom of the Mediterranean somewhere. Thanks, England.
When a pyramid...
Thanks, England. And bro, it's so stupid. I said this on a stream yesterday, and then I got a YouTube comment on the stream. The guy said, very rich from a guy whose ancestors were Vikings and were looting and pillaging cities, to say that the Brits are bad for stealing. Bro, it's all bad, okay? It's all bad. But why did you have to take the coolest pyramid artifacts?
Has a secondary entrance, which is later sealed. The passage has a large lintel centered above it. Pyramids with 2 entrances always connect them, and Menkare can't have a secret connection inside. The reason being the chambers and passages are cut into the bedrock and don't contain any masonry that could possibly disguise a hidden connection.
So this is the normal entrance, and this is where the suspected hidden entrance is, right? So he's saying since it's cut into the bedrock, it's actually not like inside the pile of stones. It's all underneath. There's nowhere that the tunnel connects, and they always connect otherwise. Therefore, yeah, I believe.
Additionally, almost all of the casing stones are missing from pyramids, and we don't see any isolated passages or hiding spots that would have been revealed once the casing stones were removed. Pyramid entrances also open evenly onto one course of stone, in contrast to the anomalies which do not match the horizontal joints. This is why Van den Hoven's hypothesis selected one block as sealing a possible entrance and not multiple stones.
It is a very strange block, though. Is this a bit? Is this not a little bit like X marks the spot? Like, this stone is very sus to me. You see every other stone, and this one is like...
This shape for a casing stone is extremely rare. In fact, it is the rarest version of a trapezoid found on the pyramids.
So this is an image of the casing stones on the Pyramid of Khafre that History for Granted himself analyzed. He zoomed in, looked at every single casing stone that still remains. The gaps are where there are none. And he identified this pattern that he now shows you, where they have diagonal edges. And if you imagine that you're standing on the edge of a 100-meter tall pyramid at this point, and you want to put in the outer edge stone, you got to be very careful to connect the layers. So he assumes that this stone, the red one, is the last one on each layer to be placed, and it is likely slotted in from above or the front, and that's why it has this edge to sort of smoothly slide in place.
The best reason to make a casing stone this shape is if you were going to push it onto the pyramid from the outside. If someone was going to conceal a hidden space in the pyramids after it was constructed, this casing stone shape is suitable for doing so. It's possible ancient Egyptians could have inserted these few casing stones after the pyramid was completed. This could be a well-disguised intrusive burial from later dynasties, or something hidden during the reign of Menkaure as well. As the Scan Pyramids team did not mention any voids revealed by muography in the paper, I think it's a safe bet that the cavity behind Menkaure's east face is quite small. Certainly don't expect anything like the spacious chambers encountered from the northern entrance. Perhaps gaps in the limestone backing stones could be exploited with an endoscope, or additional non-destructive tests could be deployed from the angle above.
Ultimately, guys, I just want to understand how these were built. I think if I get to be understanding this in my lifetime, I'll be very happy. Finding things that are untouched regardless from the time they were built is good. But bro, if you find something that's just, you know, everything's original, nothing's griefed, etc., you have such a good starting point for understanding. And it sounds like it's not a chamber, but it's a tunnel, and a tunnel could have items, right? Like, when the Queen's Chamber shafts were open, they found a couple of items that were there since construction. Yeah, these items... Oh, British Museum, fantastic. Wonder how they ended up there. These items were inside the Queen's Chamber shaft when, I think his name was Dixon, opened them in 18-something, 18... I'd say 1830, but I don't remember. There's also wood. He found wood. And these were in an unopened tunnel. And this is essentially an unopened tunnel as well. Sounds credible, sounds promising.
If you ever visit Giza, wandering among them is highly recommended. There's something magical about these giants lying in the sand. They whisper that insight into the ancient past is as close as the underside of a single stone sitting in plain sight. Thanks to everyone who watched this video to the end.
So smart, though.
Please subscribe to the channel to see more of this content. Remember to ask your friends if they take their history for granted.
Oh yeah, baby. Okay, that's a banger. That was a banger. It seems intentional. It seems intentional rather than, random air gap, right? And it's right by the entrance, which is really nice. It's really nice that it's right by the entrance because it gives me hope that we can actually get to see it. Given that, you can't stand and work under this, bro. You have to do some cleanup if you want to actually go behind that, because this is just gonna collapse on whoever works below it.
One approach to moving the blocks here would...
Yeah. Was that interesting, guys? 1 in chat if interesting, 2 if no. History for Granted, absolute legend. I should link the video again for you guys. Please go check out more of his channel for more pyramid content. I'm no expert, but I'm an enthusiast, you know? I like the pyramids. I wish they get solved. And I think we just need more smart people. I'm not one of them, but maybe you are. Maybe you can become an Egyptologist and study the stones.